When Queen Mary died in 1953, she left behind one of the largest jewellery collections in royal history. Over 40 tiaras, hundreds of brooches, necklaces that could wrap around a woman twice. Her granddaughter, Queen Elizabeth II, inherited them all. But here's the shocking truth: we can only account for about half of them. The rest, they simply vanished. No photographs, no public appearances, no records of sales, just gone. Today, I want to show you 3 extraordinary pieces from that missing collection. A sapphire bandeau that disappeared for 60 years, an amethyst parure sold to settle debts, and a diamond fringe deliberately destroyed to create 2 other tiaras. Let's unlock the mystery. Let me start with perhaps the most mysterious piece in Queen Mary's collection, a small diamond bandeau with a large central sapphire. The origin of this tiara is disputed. According to jewellery historian Leslie Field, who wrote The Queen's Jewels in the 1980s, this small V-shaped tiara with a large centre sapphire had also belonged to Dowager Empress Marie Feodorovna of Russia. Now, we know Queen Mary purchased several pieces from Marie Feodorovna's estate after the Dowager Empress died in 1928 in exile in Denmark. Those purchases are documented, but there are no public records of Mary buying this specific sapphire bandeau, so the Russian provenance remains uncertain. What we do know for certain is that Queen Mary owned it and wore it occasionally in the 1930s and 40s. The tiara features a distinctive sunray or sunburst design. Diamond rays radiate outward from a central focal point, creating a V-shaped silhouette. At the very centre sits a large cabochon sapphire, smooth and polished rather than facetted. The sapphire is surrounded by a halo of diamonds that catch light from every angle. The entire piece is set in silver and gold, typical of jewellery from the early 1900s. It's relatively small compared to Mary's grander tiaras. This was what she would call a small tiara, the kind reserved for theatre outings and cinema premieres rather than full state occasions. Interestingly, the central sapphire appears to have been detachable. In some photographs, you can see Mary wearing what looks like a carved emerald brooch in place of the sapphire. This was the Delhi Durbar carved emerald brooch, a gift she received during the 1911 Delhi Durbar ceremonies in India. That versatility, the ability to swap out the centre stone, was classic Queen Mary. She loved jewels that could be reconfigured. When Queen Mary died in 1953, this sapphire bandeau was left to Queen Elizabeth, later known as the Queen Mother. But Elizabeth never wore it publicly. Instead, she loaned it to her younger daughter, Princess Margaret, and Margaret loved it. In April 1958, Margaret packed the sapphire bandeau in her luggage for a royal tour of the Caribbean. She wore it for a dinner at Government House in Trinidad, paired with sapphire and diamond earrings and the Lady Mount Stephen necklace. Contemporary newspaper reports described her dress as powder blue, covered with blue and silver lace, re-embroidered with silver, diamonds and sapphires. The sapphire bandeau complemented the ensemble perfectly. Margaret wore the tiara throughout the 1950s and early 60s. She wore it to the French state visit in 1960. She wore it to the wedding of Princess Astrid of Norway in 1961. It became one of her signature pieces during those years. Elegant, relatively modest, but still unmistakably royal. And then, sometime in the mid-1960s, she stopped wearing it. The last confirmed photograph of Princess Margaret in the sapphire bandeau dates to the early 60s. After that, nothing. For over 60 years, the sapphire bandeau has not been seen publicly. When the Queen Mother died in 2002, Queen Elizabeth II inherited it, assuming it still existed. the Queen never wore it. Many royal jewellery enthusiasts hoped it would appear on Meghan Markle for her 2018 wedding. The modern geometric design would have suited Meghan's minimalist aesthetic perfectly. And sapphire is Harry's birthstone, which would have added symbolic meaning. But Meghan wore a different bandeau, the one with the County of Lincoln brooch. The sapphire bandeau stayed hidden. It's also been suggested that Catherine, Princess of Wales, could wear it beautifully. The deep blue sapphire would complement her engagement ring perfectly. She already owns several sapphire pieces. Diana's sapphire and pearl choker, sapphire cluster earrings, and the bandeau would complete the suite. But so far, no appearance. That means theoretically it should still be in the vaults. But after 60 years of silence, we simply can't be certain. Was it sold quietly? Broken up for its stones? Given to a minor royal we don't know about? Or is it sitting in the vault right now, waiting for Queen Camilla or the Princess of Wales to rediscover it? We may never know. But of all Queen Mary's missing tiaras, this is the one that feels most likely to resurface. Someday, perhaps, our next vanished treasure has a more definitive and more painful ending. According to royal jewellery law, Queen Mary acquired a collection of large amethysts by winning them at a charity auction. She then had them set into a complete parure: a tiara, a necklace, earrings, a brooch, and a ring. The tiara design was substantial. Large oval amethysts were positioned vertically throughout the piece, separated by sets of 2 smaller oval amethysts stacked horizontally. The entire diadem was studded with diamonds and enclosed by straight rows of diamonds at the top and bottom. The amethysts were a rich, deep purple, the kind of colour that glows in evening light. Combined with the diamonds, the effect was both regal and unusual. Most royal tiaras feature diamonds, pearls, rubies, sapphires, or emeralds. Amethysts are relatively rare in royal collections. Queen Mary wore the amethyst tiara regularly in the 1930s and 40s. She particularly favoured it for evenings out at the theatre and cinema, occasions where comfort mattered more than overwhelming grandeur. One notable appearance came in May 1939, when she wore the amethyst tiara and brooch to attend a charity premiere of the Claudette Colbert comedy Midnight in London. You can see in photographs from that evening how the purple stones complemented her typically dark-coloured evening wear. The amethysts added a pop of colour without being too bold. This was typical of Mary's small tiara rotation, pieces she wore when she wanted to look elegant but didn't need to project maximum majesty. In May 1993, the amethyst parure appeared at Sotheby's auction house in Geneva, Switzerland. The estimate was $75,000 to $125,000. At the time, British tabloids ran stories claiming the Queen Mother was selling the parure to settle debts. Buckingham Palace firmly denied this. According to Sotheby's, the parure did not belong to the royal family at the time of sale. The parure sold for £55,357 to an unknown buyer. The story doesn't quite end there. In 2007, Anna Wintour, the legendary editor of Vogue, wore the amethyst necklace from Queen Mary's parure to a gala at the Victoria and Albert Museum in London. This confirmed that at least the necklace portion of the parure still existed and had entered private hands. But the current owner is unknown, and we don't know if the rest of the parure, the tiara, earrings, brooch, and ring are still intact or have been broken up. Unlike the sapphire bandeau, which might still be hiding in the vaults, the amethyst parure is definitively gone from the royal collection. It was sold. It exists somewhere in private hands, and will likely never see it worn by a British royal again. It's a reminder that even Queen Mary's jewels, pieces with impeccable royal provenance aren't immune to financial reality. When money is needed, even tiaras can be sold. Our final piece didn't vanish through sale or mysterious disappearance. It vanished through deliberate destruction, dismantled by Queen Mary herself to create something she considered better. In July 1893, Princess Victoria Mary of Teck married Prince George, Duke of York, at the Chapel Royal in St James's Palace. She received a haul of wedding gifts that was certainly fit for a future queen consort. Among those gifts was a spectacular diamond fringe tiara necklace from the people of the county of Surrey. The Earl of Lovelace, who was Lord Lieutenant of Surrey, presented the tiara to Princess May and her parents at a garden party held at White Lodge on Monday, July 3rd, just days before the wedding. Funds had been collected from Surrey residents by subscription, organised by Lovelace's second wife, Jane. The gift cost £1,200, a substantial sum in 1893. Contemporary newspaper reports described the tiara as designed in the Empire style. The centre featured a tapering upright, 2 3/4 inches in length, with scroll sides holding large single diamonds and supported by a fleur-de-lis base surmounting a band of single diamonds. On each side of the centre was an upright ray with 3 important single brilliant. The same design is repeated in gradations throughout. The piece contained over 300 brilliants, many of large size. Like many tiaras of that era, it could be removed from its frame and worn as a necklace. This versatility made it one of Mary's more frequently worn pieces. Princess Mary wore the Surrey Fringe tiara in its tiara setting for official portraits taken in March 1901 in Ottawa during a royal tour of Canada. She paired it with her famous 11-row pearl choker with distinctive diamond spacer sections. In 1905, she posed for a famous series of portraits photographed by W&D Downey. For these portraits, she wore the Surrey piece as a necklace. She paired it with 2 other spectacular pieces. The Love Trophy collar around her neck, made by Garrard in 1901, and the Boucheron loop tiara on her head, made in 1902 using diamonds given to her by De Beers. That 1905 photograph was the last time the County of Surrey Fringe was publicly documented in its original form. By 1913, Queen Mary had been on the throne for 3 years. She'd been thinking strategically about her jewellery collection, considering which pieces worked for her new role and which didn't. She made a decision. The Surrey Fringe would be more useful if it no longer existed. She took the tiara to Garrard with specific instructions. Dismantle it completely. The 13 largest diamonds were removed. These were used to replace the pearl toppers on the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, the tiara we now most closely associate with Queen Elizabeth II, and which Queen Camilla wore at her coronation in 2023. Every time we see that tiara today, those 13 diamonds sitting proudly atop the frame are the Surrey Fringe diamonds. They survived. The remaining diamonds from the Surrey Fringe were combined with diamonds from another dismantled tiara, the Ladies of England tiara, to create an entirely new piece, the Gloucester honeysuckle tiara. This tiara features delicate, diamond honeysuckle flowers arranged in a naturalistic pattern. It's charming, elegant, and distinctly different from the rigid fringe design of its predecessor. Queen Mary commissioned the honeysuckle tiara from Garrard in 1914. The design was clever. The centre setting could accommodate either a Cullinan diamond or a large sapphire, giving Mary the flexibility to change the tiara's appearance depending on her outfit. So the County of Surrey diamond fringe is simultaneously extinct and immortal. The original tiara necklace no longer exists. The frame was destroyed, the design is lost, but every single diamond survives. 13 stones sit atop Queen Camilla's head when she wears the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. The rest form the Gloucester honeysuckle tiara on the Duchess of Gloucester's head. It's a jewellery reincarnation, and this was Queen Mary's philosophy in action. She didn't preserve things in amber just because they were gifts or heirlooms. She looked at her collection strategically and asked, "How can I make this better? How can I make this more useful?" Sometimes that meant combining pieces. Sometimes it meant breaking them apart. Sometimes, as with the Surrey Fringe, it meant destroying one tiara to birth 2 new ones. 3 of Queen Mary's tiaras. 3 very different fates. These stories tell us something important about royal jewellery. We imagine these pieces are permanent, eternal, unchanged. But that's not reality. Royal jewels live. They're broken, apart, and rebuilt. They're sold when money is needed. They're adapted and improved. And occasionally they simply disappear. Queen Mary understood this better than anyone. To her, jewels were tools meant to be used strategically. If that meant destroying a tiara to make something better, so be it. The question that remains: how many other Queen Mary tiaras are out there, sitting in private collections, their royal provenance unknown even to their current owners? We may never know the complete truth, but every once in a while, a piece resurfaces. Like that diamond lozenge bandeau turning up in Malaysia in 2024. And it makes you wonder what other treasures are waiting to be rediscovered. Which of these 3 fates surprises you most? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and remember, not every treasure stays in the vault forever. Sometimes they vanish, and sometimes, if we're very lucky, they come back.